Hi Aries, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Tarot, and today we are going to do your October 2022 predictions. So what we're going to start with is I have your general energy of October here, and then we're going to go through each area of your life and then go into some advice. So let's get right into it. So the center point for our general energy for October is going to be the storm. Interesting. Then we have some surrounding cards here of why. We have worry. We have don't dim to fit in and citrus. Let's see if I can get you some more view here. I definitely see that this is going to be quite an eventful October for you. I get the sense that there's going to be a bit of a not necessarily a conflict. I feel like for most of you it's more like an inner conflict. Maybe you have been doing some soul work lately, or there is a certain situation that has been on your mind, but it seems so far the general energy of October is going to be a little tumultuous. Is that how you pronounce that? But everything's going to be good in the end. It's just something to give you a good look ahead. So already, as you see, the storm kind of speaks for itself. It seems like there's going to be some conflicting feelings you have about something on the inside, which also makes sense for you, Aries, since you're so fiery and passionate. There might be something... Oh, for some of you, I'm also getting a message that it may not be an inner conflict for all of you. For some of you, it might be some kind of pursuit that you're currently in right now, especially because you're so fiery and ambitious, Aries. There might be something that you're fighting for, and that I think for some of you that is what this is as well, which obviously if you're trying to attain something, there's going to be some natural conflict and fire in there. So there's what we got with the storm, especially with what's surrounding it. Why and worry are the big ones where I feel like some of you are going to be experiencing some inner conflict. Something's going to be stressing you out. For those of you where this is going to be an inner conflict, I feel like part of this inner conflict is going to be either caused by or a symptom of an insecurity you're going through, especially with this don't dim to fit in card. How are you dimming your light in order to fit in? For someone with your personality type, I think that you are very responsive to other people's responses to your goals, to your actions, maybe the way that you come across. You have a strong personality, and for those of you who haven't fully stepped into the person that you are, you might be struggling with a bit of insecurity of people either finding you to be too much or people not understanding where you're coming from. And as a result, you might be kind of bringing yourself down a few notches to avoid some of that criticism, or trying to be a little less noticeable. And in the same vein, those of you who might be doing that might be asking yourself why, or kind of asking the universe why in general. Why do I have to do that? Why don't people just understand? I can say right off the bat that you do you, Aries. I mean, you're awesome, and people don't have to understand you for you to be fully who you are. I mean, exactly as this card says, don't dim to fit in. And in terms of your why, of course, sometimes things happen not to us, but they happen for us. Sometimes it's hard to feel that way, but as a whole, it's easier to think of things as happening for us because they always teach us lessons, right? But I know it can be difficult to feel that way during the time. I know it's going to be a little difficult for you, especially with this worry card. I think that you're going to feel a little bit clouded with the situation that you're going into in October. But as this card reminds you, try to remember to tell yourself that worry does not change an outcome. Worrying is just going to give you undue stress that doesn't help you find a solution, doesn't help you move forward, which I know that you're so about. I do want to check the guidebook for the citrus here, but the feeling that I get off the bat from it, especially with this worry here, is you might be feeling just a little bit bitter or a little bit sour as you move into October and deal with this situation. For those of you who I mentioned there might be feelings of insecurity in there, I think that this is really pointing to that. There's just this general, yes, exactly what I said, a general little sour feeling. Maybe you feel a little bit of resentment or bitterness towards someone else who might be judging you. And I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm just saying it so that you're aware of those feelings and so you can move past them quicker than otherwise. But all is part of life. Let me check the guidebook for citrus to give you a little bit more context on that. Here we go with citrus. This is a card of capability of empowerment. You've been stuck in a limbo lately, waiting for someone to make the time to help you. Ultimately, however, it will be faster to brush up on the skills you lack and do things yourself. Be like a citrus fruit with all of its important nutrients. Fill yourself with value and strength that will benefit you both now and in the future. Okay. I think that this card, kind of playing off of what I said earlier, is really reminding you that in October, maybe while you're dealing with this conflict, for some of you inner conflict, and for some of you, you might be battling something or situation in order to attain a goal that you've been going after. I think citrus is really telling you to find your inner strength. This also reminds me a lot of the solar plexus chakra, where a lot of that inherent self-empowerment and self-belief and confidence comes from. I think that while you're going through this worry and some of this conflict and kind of questioning yourself and others, I think this is an opportunity for you, Aries, to really draw into yourself and find some of those answers for yourself and remind yourself that you have all the strength and all the tools you need to move forward in the situation already. I think this is going to be a good opportunity for you in October to reconnect with your feelings of self-empowerment and with kind of what sparks inspiration for you, what makes you come alive, and all of the things that you love about yourself. So that is the kind of the general energy of October. We're going to pull some cards for each one of the areas of your life. And I am excited to use our new Spoopy Tarot here. So I will explain each of the places as we go ahead and do that. Okay. So first off, we're going to do Spirit. May I have a card for us to look into health for Aries in October? Aries health. Ooh, we've got 12, the bat. Off the bat, I am feeling that some of you might benefit from being a little more reclusive for your health in October. Maybe some helpful introversion time for you to reflect and see a new perspective. I think it's a good time for you to take some rest for, like I said, self-reflection and also some self-care, especially with some of this conflict that is happening. I actually have not looked into the guidebook for Spoopy Tarot so far, but I think it'll be fun to supplement what I am feeling for these with that. So let me pull the guidebook out for this one as well. We have the bat. So far we have that the bat helps the fool gain new perspective. So as I mentioned earlier, might help you get a new perspective on some of the conflict you'll be facing. Where was I headed before I turned around? Does it matter? To get this card in a reading is a positive sign you're in a place of limbo. While some may see what you're looking at as a sign that nothing is real, solid, or dependable, you see it in a different way. Take advantage of this moment of suspension to play with perspective. Yeah, so other than taking some time for yourself and maybe enjoying some productive reclusiveness for your health in October, I think maybe some of you have not always had the most healthy perspective when it comes to taking care of your health, and this might be a call for those of you that applies to take your health a little bit more seriously in October, or to try and see it a different way. I get the feeling that some of you might see slowing down for health as an impediment to your goals, or maybe even if you don't consciously think this, maybe you might feel like it's a waste of time or kind of deprioritize it. But I think October is inviting you to look at it with a different perspective and consider that making sure that you rest properly and that you're in the best condition actually helps your goals and gives you enough of the resources that you need and energy that you need to push through that. So next we're going to see a card for your social life in October. Spirit, may I get a card for us to see what is... Oh, this one already came out. Social life. We have 13 death. Interesting. The fact that 13 came out right after 12 in health and in your social life, I think that this is kind of tying into that, where you might have to take a step back with your social life to prioritize your health in October. I think that there's also a message here to clear out any toxic people or toxic thought patterns you might have picked up from others in your social circles, especially as you deal with some of this worry and insecurity and conflict that you're going to be experiencing in October. This is a good time for you to clear out anyone who has not been serving your greatest good, especially when it relates to this conflict. We will go ahead and pull a card for creativity. Spirit, may I have a card for us to see what's going on creatively for Aries in October. I also want to point out that the bat and death in this deck are major arcana, so I think that that is a more important message for you there, that health is going to be a big theme for you in October. Well, I feel like this one wants to come out. We have the Five of Bones in reverse, which... Is that wands? I want to double check to see if it's wands. Okay. My bad. Wands is going to be the lollipops, and the bones are swords. So this is going to be the Five of Swords and creativity. So right off the bat, I think that creativity is going to feel a little bit jumbled for you in October. It might feel a little bit chaotic, like maybe you can't quite get your thoughts together at first. It may not last through the entirety of October, but this kind of is the impression that I get off the bat, which makes sense considering the context of our reading so far. And yes, especially with it being in reversed, I get the feeling that your thoughts are going to feel a little jumbled, especially with everything else going on, which, don't worry, we'll get some advice later for us to figure out how to make this all good. The Five of Swords here can also point to some issues with ego. It doesn't necessarily have to point to you. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. It could be that following the pattern I've seen so far, where some of you might feel resentment towards others, or there might be a time for you to clear out any toxic patterns within your social circle in October. This Five of Swords in reverse gives me the idea that there might be others that are kind of hindering your creativity in October. For some of you, I also feel the message of don't be so hard on yourself if creativity isn't flowing as well in October than it usually does. I'm hearing that for some of you, you might be in a creative field, or you might take a lot of pride in your creative projects, and they may not move super fast this October, and you might feel some kind of way about that. But I'm getting a message from Spirit to not worry too much, that it's all part of the plan, and that it is definitely part of the plan, because this is a time where you should be taking a step back and focusing more on your emotions and your projects right now and your health. So I'm feeling a message for most of you guys to acknowledge that pride you have in your creativity, but to take a step back a bit and allow yourself to focus more on your health in October. And that you are not losing, so to speak, just because you're not going full steam ahead in creativity. So let's pull a card for finance. Spirit, may I have a card to see what's going on in Aries finance in October? How are Aries finances looking like in October? We have the Two of Pentacles, I believe. Yes, Two of Pentacles. Already, I feel like this is a sign that financially, there is going to be a couple of opportunities opening up for you, Aries, in your financial house. I get the feeling with the imagery here too, it's kind of like peekaboo, here we are. Maybe it's an opportunity you've been waiting for a while, or it's something that was unexpected. I am getting the feeling more so though that you were waiting to hear back from something, some kind of opportunity for a while, and maybe you were ready for it to take a long time, but all of a sudden it's going to be like, hello, here in October. And looking at you right in the eye for you to make a decision on it. For some of you, this might involve a partnership. I'm definitely feeling like this is connected to work in some way, even though career is not going to be until next, but that's how I'm feeling with this Two of Pentacles, that this financial opportunity might be coming from whatever you're doing as a career. For some of you, this might also be a sign that you might have to balance a few obligations to keep your financial house in harmony in October. There might be a couple different sources of income maybe that you are handling that is going to be a focus for you for finance. But we might get a little bit more context when we look into career. So, Spirit, may I have a card to represent Aries career in October? Ooh, we got two of them flying out. Okay, so for career, we have the Queen of Swords and the Four of Swords in reverse. Okay, so it looks like for career, interestingly, I feel like you guys are pretty clear-minded and confident in your career house in October. But I think that with this Four of Swords in reverse, there is an emphasis here to, again, as we've been getting a recurring theme of, take some time to rest, maybe before you move into November or the holidays. But maybe I get the feeling that a lot of you guys have been going full steam ahead. And that might be affecting your health overall now. That might be one of the reasons why you are getting so much worry and feeling a little bit neurotic in October. And I'm getting the feeling that if you want to maintain this Queen of Swords energy where you're feeling very clear-headed and career is looking good for you, that it is important for you to take the time to rest, to make sure that you fully recharge for the next step. And I'm hearing that for some of you, Spirit is kind of saying that if you want to keep being this Queen of Swords, you better take this rest now while you have the opportunity to. Maybe you won't have the opportunity to later. Maybe work is going to kick off, or there's going to be a new project starting later and you won't have the time to pause. And I get the feeling that Spirit is saying this is the time to pause and rest for career. Okay, and we are going to pull another card for romance before we move on to advice. Spirit, may I have a card for us to look into Aries romance in October? And this doesn't have to apply to those of you who don't resonate with it. I thought I would offer it for those of you who are romantically involved, but all good. If you're not, you can go ahead and just skip this last card and move on in the reading. But Aries romance in October. Ooh. We have the Four of Cups in reverse. I'm getting a general feeling that romance in October for you might be a little bit unstable. But that could mean a number of things. Maybe some of you guys are, those of you who are single, are entertaining a few different prospects, so to speak. And those of you who are in a relationship might be a little bit, have a temporary lapse in communication just because everything else is going on and there's just a lot going on for you right now, which is completely normal. The Four of Cups being reversed as well, I think there's a message for some of you guys to look out for falling too far into a pity party, so to speak. I think that it is very important to show empathy for yourself and to fully acknowledge any negative feelings you're feeling in October. But there's a message for some of you guys with this Four of Cups in reverse in romance to try not to go overboard. If you are feeling negatively, try not to take your emotions out on another person or to be too harsh on your partner if you're frustrated about something, because there's just a lot going on for you. I get the feeling that some of you guys, specifically in this Four of Cups in reverse, also might be being a little stubborn in a few ways, either in an argument or maybe in some of those prospects that those of you who are single are looking at. You might be refusing to take the next step or to move forward or even to make a full decision. Maybe you're waiting on more information, or you're just waiting until you're in a better headspace. But I'm hearing the word stuck, which makes sense because I think October is going to focus on other things for you. So I think romance is going to take a bit of a backseat and pause for you in October. Yep, but just as a reminder, in case you want to look at this a little bit more, we've got health, social life, creativity, finance, career, and romance. And we are going to move on to your October advice. so that we can make sense of some of the stuff that is going on for you. Before we go, I moved to this because I just noticed, I think that Spirit was calling my attention to that. You've got some double fours and in reverse here. I think things are just going to feel a little bit shaky in October, but everything's going to be okay. Just something for you to be aware of as you move forward through the months. We're going to move these aside. And we are going to move into some advice for you, Aries. So what we're going to do is first we're going to pull a card to look at a challenge that's happening in October. We're going to look at some self-care for October, something to be mindful of, and then we're going to open the floor to just straight up advice from Spirit on how to help you make the most of October. So, we already got a card for a challenge for October is going to be temperance, which I'm hearing a strong word on moderation here. I'll see what I'm mentioning so far. Some of you guys may be dealing with burnout or maybe headed towards a really serious burnout. And I think Spirit is mentioning to take some time to relax. I hear a specific message for some of you that taking a dip in a hot bath or some hot springs or someplace with steam can be really beneficial for you to sit back. I'm really hearing release some toxins and really get back in touch with your emotions. I did notice a strong lack of any cups other than that 4 of cups early in our reading, and that wouldn't in a vacuum wouldn't be significant, but I'm getting a feeling that there is a real focus for you to reconnect with your emotions in a healthy way. In terms of self-care, Spirit, what is your advice for something Aries should do for self-care in October? Oh, this one's already hopping out at me. We've got clear your energy field. As I mentioned earlier, clearing out toxins, clearing out toxic people is a strong thing that I'm hearing. Just cleansing your space and yourself mentally and physically so that you may have a clear path ahead in the future months. I definitely feel like that message about taking a hot bath or being in steam is really connecting to you clearing your energy field. And then a quick card for what to be mindful of for October. Spirit, what should my Aries be mindful of in October? We've got 2 cards here. We've got the 8 and 9 of Swords. There's definitely a message here for another emphasis on watching out for burnout and for feelings of exhaustion. For some of you guys, there is a message for being mindful of another emphasis on what I said earlier about maybe being too far into a pity party, so to speak. And it's not to reprimand you for feeling bad for yourself. It's more so pointing out that there is a point where feeling empathy for ourselves and acknowledging our situations might turn into a little bit of victimizing, and that's completely different from again being kind with yourself and recognizing that you're going through a hard time. I'm hearing that the thing to be mindful of in that vein is to still remind yourself of the personal power that you hold. And the imagery I'm getting from this card is reminiscent of not falling into the abyss, so to speak. And I'm feeling here like a mental abyss. Don't hold yourself down too much by negative thoughts. And I definitely feel like some of these negative thoughts may not even be coming from you. They might be coming from a negative part of your environment. And I think that's partially why we've gotten these messages of clearing out your energy field and taking some time for yourself. I think that there is some cleaning to do in terms of your thought patterns, especially as you deal with worry and some stress in October. This is a good time to clear your mind and remind yourself of how capable you are, Aries, and how powerful you are, and all the reasons that you should feel confident in yourself. I feel like if you work on that this month, there is a real opportunity for you to feel a kind of release and relief. Maybe if you go and get that opportunity to take a hot bath, or to go to a hot spring, or to steam, or go to a hot tub, that might be a time for you to intentionally think of release. Think of releasing your worries, releasing insecurities you might have for yourself, and any negative thought patterns that are holding you back. Okay, so lastly, we are going to ask Spirit for advice on making the most of October. I am kind of opening the floor here to which deck Spirit would like me to use. We are going to pull some cards for Spirit's advice for making the most of October. We'll pull some clarifiers, and I'll end with a few messages for you, Aries. Spirit, I have 4 cards for Aries advice on making the most of October, please. Ooh, this one's already hopping out at me. Oops, we've got something else hopping out at me. I feel like it is just this one. This one's kind of popping out at me, and then we have one more. And we've got our last one. So your advice from Spirit for making the most of October, Aries. We've got the Lovers, starting out strong. The 5 of Swords, 4 of Pentacles in reverse, and the 8 of Pentacles. Right off the bat, this bee is really sticking out to me, and a message I'm feeling from that is that this is really going to be a month for you to look at your affairs internally within your house, whether that is personally and emotionally or within your physical house. This is going to be a month for you to take a step back and, just like this bee here, tend to your internal affairs. Really do some beekeeping, so to speak. I feel like on top of that, the Lovers here is really asking you to examine your emotions and make some important choices in October on what is really serving you and what you really want in your life and what you want moving forward. I'm getting another message, especially looking at these Scorpions, to clear out any toxins you have, both physically, emotionally, and within your environment, that are not serving your greatest good. I'm getting a message from this 5 of Swords that if some of you guys struggle with any sort of negative self-talk in October, or some worrying thoughts or stresses that are kind of sitting in the back of your mind, like they keep pulling your attention from other things, I think that Spirit is giving you advice to, as much as you can, to pay them no mind. I'm getting the feeling with the imagery with this deer that even though there's these, what at least I'm feeling, these weirdly menacing swords, or I'm feeling the word threats and that might be mental threats or something you perceive as a threat. This deer is still grazing and paying no mind and just caring about their business. This Four of Pentacles in reverse is giving me another emphasis on really looking at your internal affairs and weeding out things that you don't need. Maybe this is a good time for you to look at things like your bills or any subscriptions that you don't need, and to be clearing that out, just really making space for good new things to come in. A message from this Five of Swords with this deer in particular is also a message for you to trust your instincts in October, Aries. Especially when it comes to situations or people that you're not really sure about, make sure to trust your instincts in I'm definitely feeling like social situations that you are unsure about. This Four of Pentacles in reverse with this fox here, and the way that it's kind of hoarding not just these pentacles but these rabbits, it seems like it's trying to handle a lot right now. I think that here there's a message from Spirit to try to relinquish a bit of control you have on a situation that's causing you stress in October, and to allow Spirit to come in and help you out a bit. I think that trying to control a situation a bit too much is distracting you from maybe some more obvious solutions or some of the help that Spirit's trying to send you. Not just with this Four of Pentacles being reversed, but I was definitely noticing this beautiful rabbit and the moon in the background. I think that this fox is completely oblivious to it because the fox is just trying to wrangle these rabbits and these pentacles in their burrow and make sure none of them get away. But there's definitely help available to you if you try not to do everything yourself, is what I'm hearing for that. Definitely with this Eight of Pentacles building off of that last note, I think that you would benefit in October from seeking help from your community, whether that is your friends, your family, a church group, an organization, a club, or a combination of those things. I think that especially when you're feeling stuck or you're feeling a little boggled in October, that asking for help and asking for advice from those around you and care about you can be very helpful for you. Especially just to keep all of your ducks in a row. Maybe you're going to be a little bit too hung up on some other details in October that you might need help just keeping everything organized. And I think community is going to be very helpful for you there. But before we wrap this up, I want to pull a few clarifiers for each of these cards. And then I will leave you with some messages from Spirit. Spirit, may I have a clarifier for the Lovers, please? Oh, we've got one flying out at me. We have the Seven of Wands in reverse. Spirit, may I also have a clarifier for this Five of Swords? Yes, I definitely feel like once you make a conscious choice on what you want for the future, maybe setting some real real intention for what you want to see coming next, things are going to feel a lot more aligned for you, Aries. We've got another Death in this Five of Swords. That's a clarifier. Yes, there might be issues for sure with ego in your environment, or maybe you're going to be experiencing some ego holding you back in October, and Spirit is really calling you to clear some of that out, to open up some space for you to receive better things in the next months. We have the Three of Cups clarifying this Four of Pentacles. I'm getting the feeling here that with the message of the Four of Pentacles of you trying not to control the situation too much, I think maybe you should be trying to spend your time on just appreciating what's around you. Maybe instead of trying to hold on to things too much, this might be a good month for you to count your blessings and just really celebrate what you do have going for you. Especially with friends around you, I think that there is a message here for you to remember what you do have in your cup so far, instead of focusing too much on trying to attain more or ascertain the next asset for you to acquire, so to speak. Last, we have this Page of Swords in reverse, clarifying this Eight of Pentacles. This Page of Swords in reverse. I think that this is a message for you to, again, not be too harsh on yourself, especially when it comes to the details in October, Aries. I'm definitely hearing in the realm of self-talk, and maybe in the way that you even speak to others. Maybe you might find yourself being a little bit sharp-tongued in October because you're feeling on edge, but I think there's a message here to not just watch out what words you're using with others, but some of you guys might be receiving some unwelcome news, so to speak, or you might be receiving advice from someone that you didn't ask for, or maybe some advice that is a little hard to hear. I think this is a reminder that if you hear news like that it is coming from a place of love, and even if it's a little harsh, to try not to take it too much to heart and just try to listen to the message. And I think that's all the messages we have for advice. I will leave you with a few encouraging messages from Spirit for October, Aries. Spirit, may I have some words of encouragement for my beautiful Aries in October? We've got a few different ones. Okay, so Spirit says, in any moment I can surrender to the powerful presence of love through prayer, contemplation, and stillness. Yes, exactly what I was saying earlier. Make sure to spend some time in introspection and really clear out your space in October. And for you, just pick whichever method feels the most loving for you, whether that's prayer, contemplation, stillness, reading, taking a walk, meditation, but really tune into the feeling of love. I feel like an emphasis on that, especially because these colors that are really mirroring the Lover's card here, really bring an emphasis on love to yourself in October, Aries. We have Thank you, universe, for helping me see beyond the limits of fear. Thank you for expanding my perception so I can see what is of the highest good. Even though October might feel or seem a little bit rough or scary for you, Aries, I think that Spirit is telling you that this is going to be an opportunity for you to break those limits, for you to break the limit of being held back by fear and by worry, and that you're going to be able to expand some of your perceptions so you can see the highest good. That all of this is going to be happening for you to continue to grow. When I lean on certainty and faith, I change my mind about the world I see. Exactly what I was saying. You're going to be opening a new perspective by overcoming these hurdles in October, Aries. And things are going to just seem a lot more magical for you. I think that you're going to see the light at the end of the tunnel in a really beautiful way once you get past a storm, so to speak. The more energy and intention I bring to my faith, the more fearless and free I am. Yes, have faith, Aries. Surround yourself in love, and you are going to be awesome in October. I'm going to leave you with that, and thank you so much for coming to my reading, giving me the opportunity to read for you, my beautiful Aries. I hope you guys have a wonderful October, and if you feel called to, please feel free to leave a like, a comment, or subscribe, and thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!